Would I be the a-hole for ending my marriage because I want bio kids when I have two step-kids who already lost their mom? When I, 31 female, met my husband, I was upfront that having biological kids was one of my deal breakers. I always wanted to be a mom, and if I couldn't get pregnant naturally, fertility treatments would be something I'd want to pursue. I told him that if that wasn't something he was okay with, then I wanted him to be honest. He told me he would be fine with that, and that he wanted more kids too. He was a widower with 2 young kids at the time. I fell in love with him and them, and we married. We started trying to have children together, but naturally has not worked for us. I was given a medication to try and see if that helped, but it didn't. Then my fertility doctor recommended we do some tests. We did the tests, and we were told there is a very high chance intrauterine insemination would work for us. But now my husband has said he doesn't want to spend the money on that, and he feels we should just be thankful for the 2 kids we have and call it a day. When I told him my deal breaker was still a deal breaker, he asked me how. He said we have 2 kids, and why aren't they enough? He said being biologically related to our kids shouldn't be all that matters to me. I told him I will always be their stepmom, and that even though their mom passed away, I will forever be stepmom. She will forever be mom, and I want to be someone's mom. I told him that had not changed. He told me I was unreasonable, and that if I leave, then I've destroyed our family and the kids will suffer. He asked how they'd feel knowing they weren't enough for me. He then said I'm enough for them, and I said not really. I told him they will always long for memories of their mom, which they don't have. They will always crave something I can never give them. He told his family, and they started asking me how I could still consider this a deal breaker. They said being a true mom would mean I give up on my dream of biological kids and stand by my stepkids and be there even when they see me as not their mom, knowing that it's what truly makes me their mom. They said only a monster could make kids lose 2 mothers. I have tried to find out why he doesn't want to go through fertility treatments. I have the money. I saved before we met for stuff like this because I knew there was always a chance. He tells me the money could be better spent on the family we have, and it feels wrong to him to try so hard when we already have 2 kids. He's not willing to try or change his mind. Well, neither am I. Would I be the a-hole if I still leave? Now for the top comments. He thought you would change your mind. The good old-fashioned bait and switch. If having your own biological child is important, then you are no longer compatible. Why is it okay for him to have biological children, but you are not allowed to want that as well? It doesn't mean the steps are less important. You want to experience what he has been able to experience. Everyone coming at you needs to wind their neck in. It has nothing to do with them. You need to move on. He said the difference is his biological children are already here. They exist and they're real, while mine are still a hypothetical. He asked me how I'd feel if I still didn't have any after treatment. I said then I could come to terms with it, knowing I tried everything I could to have them. He didn't like the answer, but it's true. Not the a-hole. I feel like he had no intention of having other children. He just wanted someone to raise the children he had. You're a stepmom, not a mom. You have no rights. If they need something signed for school, your signature isn't valid. Doctor's visit? Same. Travel internationally not allowed. If you divorce, you won't get a single day with them because you don't share DNA. Was anyone willing to let you even adopt them? Would they even be open to the idea? They would not be open to me adopting them. That was never on the cards. And that is something I accept and support because that would erase their mom from their birth certificate and change their legal relationship with their maternal family. They don't want that, and I would never ask that from them to make me a mom. Not the a-hole at all. Sounds to me like he strung you along hoping your deal breaker wouldn't be a deal breaker. That would be perfect for him. You spend your money on him and his kids and become a stand-in mom. He got everything he wanted, and hoping for more, and you got nothing of what you really wanted. Honestly, if I were you, I'd be royally pissed. If they haven't done testing, I'd wonder if he had a vasectomy. But they did. That was exactly where my mind went. I'd also be making sure her savings is still there. My savings are still there. They haven't been touched by anyone. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my dad out of my house after picked a fight with me over my stepmom? My dad and I, 31 male, always had a somewhat difficult relationship. I'm the youngest and the only son. My two older sisters are Mel, 35 female, and Kat, 37 female. Our mom died when I was 1, and our dad remarried when I was 4. My stepmom and I actually have a better relationship than my dad and I do, but it's my relationship with her that has made mine and dad so bad. Mel and Kat don't have a particularly close or fond relationship with our stepmom. To them, she's just not mom and could never be someone important to them. For me, she's not my mom either, even though I don't remember my mom, but she still has a place in my life. That's something that bothers Dad. He always wanted me to call my stepmom Mom. He wanted me to let her adopt me, and he'd punish my sisters for talking about Mom too much around me. He'd get mad at me for asking them about Mom, or going into their room to see photos of her. He told me it was disrespectful to my stepmom. Then he'd say she was the only mom I actually knew and I should treat her as such. My stepmom, for the most part, never pushed. A few times she did ask if I'd ever call her mom, and she was visibly disappointed when I said no, but she'd let it drop. Dad's and my relationship kind of leveled out when I went to college. He made a few comments on my wedding day that he expected my feelings to change when I had kids of my own. Now I'm a dad of 2 who's expecting a 3rd. We had family and friends over on Saturday, and my dad ended up in an awful mood because my 3-year-old pointed at a photo of my mom and called her grandma while he was holding her. Dad's whole attitude visibly changed, and after an hour he blew up and started yelling at me, asking what the heck was wrong with me. He said I was supposed to grow up once I became a dad and accept who my real parents are, and stop acting like blood is what matters. He kept asking me why my oldest said grandma to the photo and why I had a photo of my mom so clearly out for everyone to see. He asked me why I still called her my mom when my mom was sitting on the couch next to my wife. My stepmom tried calming him down, but I insisted that he leave. He tried to refuse and demanded I answer why my stepmom is still stepmom and why I let my sisters poison me. He told me I didn't deserve my stepmom and started cursing all over the place, so I made him leave. It enraged him further, but I didn't even care. He's been going crazy since then trying to talk to me, but it's not because he's sorry. He's still furious, and he told me a real man would have confronted his questions and not kicked him out. I've refused to respond since he was being so aggressive. But am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your dad is a crappy dad. To you and your sisters especially, for punishing them for talking about their deceased mother. You treat your stepmom with respect, and that's all that matters. Time to put your dad in timeout and not let him around until he learns to respect your decisions. It'll be a while before I trust him around my kids again after his behavior in front of them. Good. Your dad's a crappy dad, and you should do what it takes to protect your kids. Glad you're taking steps. Absolutely not the a-hole. You are not the a-hole for having boundaries or for honoring your late mother. Your father, however, is way out of line. I'm still mad that he was acting like that in front of my kids. What do your kids call your stepmom? Does she act like a grandmother? Does she babysit for you? Does she get them presents? If she does and she stopped, how would you react? They call her Nana. She doesn't babysit. Her and my dad have always gotten them gifts. If that stopped, then it stops. I kind of expect that to stop with the whole situation with my dad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to go back home because his mom won't acknowledge me as his wife? Okay, so I really don't know where to start, but this has been messing with my head for weeks now. I've been married to my husband for almost a year. We didn't have a big wedding or anything, just a small courthouse thing and a dinner with my family after. His mom didn't even come. She said she had a prior engagement. Whatever. Anyway, we recently moved into a duplex near his mom's house because she said she'd help out when we have kids soon. That was the first mistake. From day one, she never called me her son's wife. Not once. She calls me the girl, or that girl he brought home. I've literally heard her say to her friends, he's just going through a phase. A phase? Ma'am, we filed taxes together. This isn't a crush. I try to be respectful. I bring her food. I invite her over. I even bought her this sweater she kept pointing at during one of her shopping trips. She looked at it and said, "I don't wear cheap stuff like this." I wanted to crawl under the floor. But the thing that really pushed me, last weekend, we were all at a family dinner. She introduced my husband, his cousins, even her neighbor's dog, but not me. I was sitting right there, at her damn table, and she skipped me like I was just some random person who tagged along. Her cousin even asked, "Who's she?" and she just shrugged. I pulled my husband aside and said, "This isn't working. Either we leave or I'm packing my things and going back to my parents. I won't be treated like I'm invisible in my own marriage." You know what he said? "Let's just give her time." Give her time? We've been married a year. I'm his wife, not a guest. And I'm sick of feeling like some stranger around the people he calls family. I don't want to force him to choose. But I also can't keep being disrespected like this while he stays silent. So yeah, I told him I wanted to go back to my parents' place. At least there I'm seen. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your husband should have your back in something like this. Go home to your own family and have a serious conversation with your husband about this, because this is not a healthy relationship. Thank you. I really needed to hear that. You're right. I deserve support from my own partner. I'll take your advice seriously. If his response isn't to go completely no contact with his mom, don't bother. There is no leeway to be given at this point. She's made her position clear. It's her or you, and he has to choose because of her behavior. Is he going to choose to be married, or is he going to choose his mother? This is a lifelong decision, because if she runs you off, she's going to be power-tripping and doing this to every woman after you. He's never going to have a loving wife and family, just his mom. If he's okay with that, time to pack up and leave. Furthermore, whatever this woman started on you, you should have put it right back on her. Never ever let someone degrade you. I don't care who they are. When they started to disrespect you and degrade you, put it back to them. I don't want to force him to choose. He already chose. He asked you to be his wife. Tell him to find his spine and shine it up, and start treating you as his number one, or he can either go to marriage counseling or choose a divorce attorney. There's absolutely no reason for him to allow his mother to treat you like you don't exist. If he doesn't care enough to protect you, you don't need to be with him. The two of you are a nuclear family, and his mom is now extended family. Tell him to wake up and start acting like your husband and partner, and stop being a little mommy's boy. Just think what would happen if you had children by this man. She would take over completely, and he wouldn't support you, and you would have to be fighting all of them. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Don't do it. Move out. Get yourself a divorce and move on. Last story. Am I the a-hole for pulling away from my mom and half-siblings and not going to her house for any visitation? I'm 16 male, my dad's only child, but the oldest of my mom's 5 kids. My parents broke up when I was a newborn. My mom then had Cole, 14 male, 18 months after I was born, and then she had the rest of my half-siblings, Sarah 12, Evan 9, and Jaden 6. My half-siblings all have different dads, and I'm the only one who knows their dad. And mine? He shared custody of me, so I spent half my time with them and half with my dad. My mom was always trying to pawn my half-siblings off on my dad. She tried to make me responsible for getting him to take care of all of us. Most of the time when I was little, she'd send me home to dad and get me to ask him for money or to pick up my half-siblings to take with us places. Sometimes she showed up outside my dad's house with them and would pressure him to let them stay until her custody time of me. It was always super crazy, and she'd shame me for wanting to be at dad's house. Every time she picked up on how much I wanted out of her house and to be with dad, she'd berate me for leaving my half-siblings and ask why I never shared my dad with them. She'd throw fits if dad got me anything. I never brought stuff to her house, but if she saw me somewhere with it or saw it on his Facebook page, she used to FB stalk him, she'd freak. And she'd demand to know why I wasn't bringing it to her house to share. My relationship with my half-siblings was never good. They resent me, and I get frustrated at their complaints about me having a dad, or their fits and freakouts over me having a dad when they don't. That's why I asked dad if he'd be okay with me living with him full-time, and whether he'd take mom to court for that. It ended up being down to me, so I chose to live with my dad. My mom tried to tell me I had to go to her house, but I ignored her. I told her I wanted to be with my dad. My dad wanted to be with my mom, and I ignored her. 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 I Ever since, she's tried to make me come spend time with her and my half-siblings, but I pulled away, and I don't think I want to go back ever or try to keep a relationship with any of them. I'm happy with Dad and was never happy there. I don't miss them. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and I'm so sorry for all that. But if there is any court-ordered visitation or contact, please talk to your dad about it and do the minimum so he doesn't get in trouble if she pursues it. You're not responsible for your mom's choices or your half-siblings. You chose a stable environment over one that made you unhappy. Setting boundaries isn't wrong. Agree. It's not your fault nor your dad's fault that your mom's other children don't know their fathers. The only person at fault is your mom, and she doesn't want to solve her own problems that she created. No one can fix that for her but her. You made the right choice. Good luck to you. Not the a-hole. A literal whore for a mother is insane. She's definitely regretting busting it open for anybody after your dad. She's been looking for a good man. The only good man was your father. He's the only one around to take care of his kid, you, while the rest is nowhere to be found. Stay no contact from her forever. Don't call her, don't text her. If she reaches out, do not talk to her. Your siblings, though, are too young to understand. They're being controlled by y'all's mother. Hopefully, after all of you are grown, you can have a better relationship. Not the a-hole. Your mother failed all of you here. It is not your responsibility to make up for her poor choices, nor is it your father's. She should help her other children come to terms with the hand dealt each of them due to her choices, not tried to deflect it onto you and your father. At this age, it is totally understandable why you want none of them in your life, nor do you see a future self wanting any kind of relationship. That may remain constant, or it could change in the future. You never know. Personally, I think your mother's other children will need a great deal of therapy to come to terms with all the false expectations she has fed them. Your feelings are valid, and you are not wrong for having them, nor for not missing a toxic household. You may want to remain open in the future for limited contact, but you have several years to come to any consensus. I am glad the court saw what was necessary for you and your mental health. I hope life continues to grow more and more happy for you.